Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. It's Saturday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for Gaming Gumbo. Woohoo! Our 100th episode. And of course, it's Halloween. So we've got all kinds of spooky stuff to talk about. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. As always, I do have to get those glasses back on now so I can actually see. Oh, I get my throat's a little something caught in my, we'll get it out, I'm sure. Obviously, kudos to Domina for this year's makeup, just killing it every single year. Congrats on 100. Thanks, Japan. We've got chat hanging with us live, twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. If you're watching on YouTube, on the website, or listening on Audible, Spotify, iTunes, thank you so much. If you don't know where to find those, head on over to that website there, readycheckradio.com. All the socials in one place for you, so you can follow, like, subscribe, turn on all those notifications. If you like what we do here, tell a friend. It's easy, fast, and it's cheap, and a nice way to support us. This one's yucky. We've done the zipper one before. We did the no eyes one last year, and then Game Breaker, what we did, Kefka, we did the Moogle, we did dressed up as a woman for an After Dark. You know how it is. It's Halloween. It does look awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. But joining me today, let's go over first to resident artist, Ready Check Radio, who beautiful Halloween plates. Look at them.
What's up?
Val all dressed up for the holiday. It's Yod. What's up, sir?
The usual stuff, but I think we got someone here that needs a little more time for introduction.
It's been a while. Been a little while.
Blow the dust off of that.
Yeah, I got a message on Discord. It said this was early this week. It said, "Hey, I saw you guys just did 99. That means next one's gonna be 100. I might be free Saturday. I might know a guy." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So welcome back, Mr. Jason Winter. What's up, friend?
I was on the first Gaming Gumbo, and I'm on the last one now because it's gonna be the last one. I'm gonna come to your house and murder you after the show.
Oh, well, I mean, that would be fitting for Halloween, but I don't like that.
I need a hobby.
How you been,
and
sir?
Murder's a good one as any.
How you been?
I've been the usual.
You got a little stabby guy in the background there.
Yeah, I got a little Tonberry
Chasing him.
next to my Overwatch pops.
Yeah.
I decorated just for you, but by just for you, I mean I put all this stuff up there like weeks ago and just thought, hey, it's all good. I'll leave it up there for the show tonight.
No, it's good to see you, friend. You're looking good as always. I got you a little high. I think you pulled your chair up. There we go. Okay, I got you fixed now.
I noticed you got blue hexagons now. They changed from yellow to blue.
No, just for this episode. Everything's Val's wearing
blue's a scary color. Is that
Val's wearing her Halloween costume? It's inverse.
Yes, everything's inverted.
It's inverted from the normal color palettes. So we got it all spookied up. How have you been, sir? Like, what are you doing? I know you're doing a lot of streaming on your own channel, playing a bunch of stuff there. Like, where can people still see you? Because you don't do MMO Bomb anymore. You dabble, you show up here and hang out every once in a while. But, like, if somebody wants to see you every week, like the good old days, where can they see you and what are you doing?
I still see me often enough streaming at twitch.tv/Jason Winter, which I'm sure I'll get to it later on.
Yeah.
But, otherwise, I mean, that's about it. That's about all the regular stuff I do nowadays.
The regular
Otherwise,
stuff.
just hit me up on Discord, chat with me. I'm lonely.
I'm lonely. Well, it is Halloween, gents. I can think of no other time, and it's 100th episode, so I did bring like a little bit of news because there were some things like Pantheon, if you follow that MMO, is determined to burn itself to the ground 9 years after it finished kickstarting itself. we talked.
Between that and some of the stuff in the sheet tonight, I was looking at this like this stuff is still news. This stuff is still out there.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Well, like
I
there
mean,
was
there's
one.
some things.
Yeah, there
Mhm.
was one big thing over the last couple of weeks that I did want to get your take on now that it's all done. But for the most part, I thought, gents, we'll have another episode. I love when we get to do these episodes where we can just chill and talk about some games of the past. And it's Halloween. So why not take the opportunity to talk about scary video games? Whether it's scary suspense, scary horror, scary jump scares. Like, what are some of the best out there of all time that you've ever played? And what I've done was I've actually brought some lists from other sites, right? Because this is certainly an SEO thing, particularly in October. Give me the 20 scariest video games of all time, that type of stuff.
Ooh.
But I think it's a good place to start some discussion on scary games. So before we hit some of these titles that you may not even remember, Jason, what is the scariest video game that you remember ever playing? Regardless of age or system, like it might not be scary now, but it impacted you then. That's fine too. What is it?
I mean, ET for the Atari 2600.
That's frightening.
Horrifying. No, actually, as I looked over this list, the one that really did get me, because I streamed it. I remember I streamed it like 10 years ago, was Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Oh yeah.
I remember getting scared shitless by that game. I'm going in. I'm like, I'm not going to be scared by this. One jump scare after another.
Amnesia was great. The atmosphere
it
was
was.
fantastic. It was really, really good. Yad, what about you?
It would have to be PT.
Like, the demo.
Yep, the demo PT. Because we turned the lights off into place, and I'd just gotten to PS4 not too long ago, and trying to figure it out. Because the whole thing was trying to figure out what was actually going on. The fact that it could actually hear what you're saying through the microphone and all that stuff was new. I mean, it was something that the games hadn't done before.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of interest and.
Like, does that
scared
count? Like,
taking
it's
it.
not a full game.
It's
It's
isn't,
not. It's not even available anymore. Like,
I've got it in the PS4
It's available
over here.
to him.
it's available to him. But it was, it was
I-
kind of groundbreaking, and like it was
Yeah.
always that's one of like the always opining horror game thing,
Mhm.
right? Is what could have been with Kojima and Silent Hill and
Right.
everything.
I-
Ironically,
the
a title that I'm
ambition.
sure will come up multiple times today.
Yeah, the ambition behind it, though. I mean,
Yeah,
the fact that it can hear you
yeah.
was just wow.
I think, so Havoc, my brother, put in Resident Evil 1 in chat. And as far as like jump scares, Resident Evil 1 was probably the first game that scared me. And I think everybody's going to remember, right? When the Cerberus dogs jump through the hallway window. The
Right.
first time you go down the L-shaped hallway. That absolutely got me. And then there's some other like jump scary moments, but thinking back, the first game that like I literally was like, I don't want to go into the next room. I don't want to go into the next room. Which Amnesia is very much one of those, Jason, where you're like, I don't know, maybe I should just save and go to bed.
I just stay in this nice, well-lit area for a while.
Exactly. Was probably Clock Tower for the PlayStation 1. That's not to say that it's a great game. It's an okay game. But I picked it up probably, ironically, just at a recent gaming convention. I repurchased a copy of it. It is not a cheap PlayStation 1 game. I got a good deal on it, but you could turn it around and sell it on eBay for like $250, something like that right now. I probably got it for, I don't know, like $8, right? Like in a Kmart bargain bin, because nobody was fucking buying Clock Tower on the PlayStation 1. It was, if you don't know the premise, there's actually a couple games in the Clock Tower series. And they are kind of the first real hide and seeky horror games, right? Your character was basically powerless. And there was a dude with huge hedge clipper type scissors stalking you throughout this entire place. And so anytime he showed up, or if he was near, you had to hide. Very Amnesia-esque, right? You're pretty powerless. And that was just like the first game that I was literally, I don't want to go to the next room. I don't want to. I don't want to. And then obviously Amnesia super capitalized on that style of gameplay. And of course, Jason, the tech advances that had happened since the PlayStation 1 and Amnesia when you can create that atmosphere. Chat, by the way, feel free to throw any of yours in the game as we go along. It's like the perfect evolution of beard grip. Yes. Dead Space 2 showing up there. Dead Space 2 is better, yes, and scarier than Dead Space 1, but I'll never forget booting up Dead Space 1 for the first time. That was Xbox 360 for me, right? First time I had played the 360, a horror game on the 360. And ironically, it was the first 360 game for me that I had played on an LCD. It was the first video game I'd ever booted up on an LCD TV. And it was only probably like, 27 inches or like 32 inches or something like that. But man, booting that up, I remember having Havoc drive over to my house just because I had it all set up and just triggering like the opening cutscene into the splash credit screen and stuff like that. Very, very first time. Just so you got to watch this. You got to watch this. It's incredible. It's incredible. Let's talk about some of the other ones though, Yad. I've got this particular list. Go ahead.
There's always, of course, the original Silent Hill.
Oh yeah,
it had its problems, but there were some creepy ass aspects to it, especially the bathroom with the little children. The little children ghosts freak me the fuck out.
That's scary for any parent, a bathroom with little children. Poop everywhere, toilet paper running all the way down.
It's so amazing looking back at games like Silent Hill 1 in particular and realizing like how much of the ambiance was actually created by technical limitations. Right? Like the famous Silent Hill fog is because the PlayStation 1 couldn't render what they wanted on screen to render. So they were like, okay, well, let's put a fog in here. And honestly, it makes the whole damn thing. It's so funny.
It's all about atmosphere. I mean, it's one of the reasons why today's horror movies don't really appeal to me as much, because it's mostly gore fests, and as opposed to the creepy aspect where they had to not show you things and just insinuate because of technical limitations.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just makes it all the more creepy. Like little noises here and there and stuff like that. Because, I mean, god dang, that first game was creepy.
See, that's why I can't get into games like the big franchise like Dead Space, Resident Evil, because you got these guns and you're shooting all the stuff, you're blowing up the zombies, whatever. I prefer to have to run and hide from the big baddie, like in Amnesia. That's more of my.
You're more in like the suspense horror category.
Yeah. Well, I like playing stealth because I play Metal Gear stuff too a lot, so that's probably for some of that same DNA.
Right.
Sneaking around and so forth, rather than just blowing everything up.
Yeah. See, I'm like
you're Alien Isolation. Is that what you're saying? You want
I never have played that one, but I've seen people play it, and that would probably be a good one for me to do someday.
I'm like a huge horror buff regardless, right? Whether it's like the Saw movies, the torture porn-esque Saw movies, whether it's, a suspenseful horror movie, video game, all that stuff. Like if you saw the Blu-ray and DVD, I once bought, this is so dumb. I once bought off of eBay a lot of 196, I think it was, DVD horror movies. And obviously I have a few hundred at home. So I'm like, and they're not listing them all out. It's just like, hey, $60 and $40 shipping because the thing weighs 200 pounds. I'll send it to you. I got it. I went through it. There was like 3 duplicates. And there was just shit. There was a horror movie, hair extensions. I'm not making this up. I think actually I did a stream one time near Halloween where I just grabbed like 12 off the shelf and was showing the ridiculous ones, like hair extensions. And it's exactly what you think. Hair gets cursed and is sold into hair extensions that starts killing people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My favorite from when I was like 15 years old and was watching those late movies on USA. My favorite was Sorority Babes at the Slime Ball Bowl-O-Rama.
Oh God! Oh, those old slasher flicks.
What was it? Oh, was that like USA Up All Night?
Up All Night, yeah.
With Rhonda.
Either Rhonda Shear or with
Gilbert Gottfried. I forgot. Yeah, Rhonda. She was USA's Up All Night. She always went way up and then down.
Night.
Yeah. Holy hell! There's a blast from the past.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah.
so CBR's list, some of them we've talked about already. They have D. I don't know. They're doing top 20 here, and they put D as number 20. This is one I would be stunned if either of you played. I did on the
I never heard of it.
Dreamcast.
Nope. Never even heard of
Or I
it.
played D3 on the Dreamcast. The first D I think I played on PC. And it is a take on Vampire D being Dracula, right?
Okay.
Very, very, very good game, but does suffer from its PlayStation 1 early PC era issues, right? Number 19 is Clock Tower. You got to play the first one. I'm sure you could find a way to play it online. Yod, you and I have talked about this next series, quite a few times in the context of other things, because this one often gets lost. Alone in the Dark. That series these days is total ass, right? There is a remake coming up. There is a remake coming up. It got delayed, so it's not going to be. It was targeting this time, but it got delayed into next year. So I'm hopeful for it, but the last few have not been great. But that predated Resident Evil 1, right? Like that's the granddaddy of survival horror, unless you want to really go back into some PC stuff that the creator of Resident Evil made prior. But Alone in the Dark, yeah, that was spooky stuff.
Yeah.
He's
Manhunt.
speechless.
He is
So
speechless.
spooky. He doesn't want to make a
I'm
noise.
scrolling through the list
He's playing
right now.
stealth.
like-
He doesn't want to make a noise.
Manhunt number 17. I played the first Manhunt. There's two, I believe. Did they do another one?
I don't know this.
Yeah. I wanted to really like Manhunt, but Manhunt for me was really just one of those, like, they were trying to be edgy. Like, it was a serial killer thing, and it was Rockstar off of the heels of Grand Theft Auto, and
Okay.
yeah,
K3, yeah, right after that.
yeah, it didn't do it for me. Did either of you guys dig into that one?
No.
Because I hadn't even heard of it until I looked at the list.
I'd heard of it. It was like one of those things like you just sort of remember like being one of those infamous games from a long time ago, like Custer's Revenge, you know?
Yeah,
Something like
and
That's-
it's funny you say that because it was one of those, like, it was banned here and here and here,
Yeah,
and
I
they
imagine,
of
yeah.
course used that in the advertising, just totally leaned into it. And it's just, I know some people really like it. I played the first one and literally didn't finish it. One we've mentioned before on this show comes in at number 16, and Jason, we may have talked about it way back when you were on the
played this.
show because we were looking forward to it, you in particular, because it's, made by your Amnesia people, and that's Soma. You've played it though.
It didn't feel like a horror game to me, though. It was, yeah, there was some sort of like thing that was chasing after you, but it just felt, it's more like the internal struggle throughout the game. You'll know what I'm talking about if you ever play it, like trying to figure out my identity and what was going on to me, more so than the external forces of everything else. That's what it was to me, more so, more like a internal horror, I guess you can call it. Yeah.
So like a
I
psychological
wasn't
thing
scared about it. I
almost.
wasn't scared. Yeah, I wasn't scared about it. I wasn't like jump scared or anything by it. Yeah, a little bit when the monsters coming after you, you don't know what it is, sure, but it was more about the, oh my god, what the hell is going on to everything? That's what it was to me. And the ending, of course, was
Was it good?
it was.
Is
was
it worth
sad.
playing
It
through?
was good. It was good. It was good. Yeah, it's worth playing through definitely. But it gives you, like, I kind of saw it coming too, because I was like, okay, when they set it up, the thing that happens a little before, you're like, oh, now I know how this is going to end. Don't I? Yeah.
No, I don't know if I want to finish it.
I don't want to finish it.
I don't want to finish it. You can't make me finish it. Yours is up number 14, Yod. So I guess it counts.
Yes.
I mean, it made the list.
It
PT makes the list.
I mean, PT always makes the list. It's creepy. It's creepy as hell. I mean, come on. It was Kojima with, on Silent Hill, and they were using Norman Reedus from Walking Dead as the character. You find that out after.
I'm sorry. I think you mean from Death Stranding.
Right. That's
Yes, I think you mean Norman Reedus from Death Stranding.
at the time there was no Death Stranding.
13, interesting putting this on the list, right? Because there is a new one all out yesterday. It came out yesterday, didn't it?
Oh, was it yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Shit, I need to go buy it. Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2, highly anticipated for a long time. Finally out yesterday, I believe. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Scooping up good reviews. Metacritic has it at an 88 on the editor's side of things, an 8.4 on the user's side of things. That's for the PS5. You can also get it for PC, where it's hitting a 92 from the editor's side of things as well. So looks like I'm going to have to pick that one up. Man, this game puts even a 4090 to our knees. Yeah, that's the other thing, right? I don't know if you've been watching it at all, Jason, but the specs for Alan Wake 2 are a little crippling for PC. A little crippling.
That's fine, because I ain't gonna play it because I didn't like the first one.
You didn't? Why?
No, I just couldn't get over the mechanics of it, the shining a light and the monsters. It seemed like it didn't work, and they still came after me, and I shoot them. And they still, I just couldn't. I couldn't grasp it. I just couldn't figure it out. I don't know why. It just didn't click with me.
Wow. Okay. All right. I like the Alan Wake series. Definitely going to pick up number 2. Totally forgot it came out yesterday, so I'll probably grab it after the show. But after the show, I'm going to be watching some horror movies. It's Scary Movie Saturday with my daughter, so I got to do that first. So we'll probably get to some Alan Wake 2 tomorrow. Maybe I'll stream
Gotta
it.
spend time with the kids.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to take the makeup off, though. Oh, when Damina finished doing it, she was like, why do we make this gross every year? And I was like, because it looks great on camera, and it's fucking Halloween. And I was required on the show to bring up to everybody that apparently next year I will be dressed as a My Little Pony.
Oh, Jesus.
I did not agree to it. It did not agree to it, but that's what
We're gonna hold you to that. Somebody clip that.
No, I'm not agreeing to it. I'm not agreeing to it.
Oh, you've agreed.
I'm
agreed.
not
Yeah,
agreeing.
yeah.
There's a record now.
It's
There's
a
record of it.
done deal. It's a
On the
done
internet,
deal.
it's forever.
Not agreeing to it.
It's a done deal.
Number 12 on the list is Fatal Frame. This one has definitely a cult following. We haven't seen it in the West recently, but we may be getting one shortly. One of them finally making its way. I think we've gotten like, 3 or 4 yard. This is another one you and I have talked about because it is very...
It's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it is very... I loved the first Fatal Frame when it came to the West. Absolutely loved it. And then some of them got a little too Japanese bizarro world for me.
Well,
where they didn't make any sense to me anymore. But the idea of
Japanese horror is special.
Yeah.
It's very special. And in some ways, I find creepier than American horror. Because they even though they have the ability to show stuff now, they don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
You
remember like in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? When we got Ring and The Grudge and those different movies that were originally Japanese movies, Ringu and Ju-on. And I didn't know that at the time, right? I just watched them. Okay, these are good horror movies. Then I go back and I do watch the Japanese ones, and I'm like, man, these are on a whole nother fucking level.
Yeah, the Japanese ones have an entire... There's like an entire set of them, kind of like our Freddy and Jason's and our Halloween, Michael Myers stuff. It's like an entire series of movies that kind of intertwine with each other. It's crazy and creepy.
Jason, you said something there?
I was saying it's like Hunger Games, also spawning off from Japanese.
Oh yeah, from Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, the Japanese movie Battle Royale. Speaking of like
Battle
weird
Royale
Eastern movies, Old Boy. Not really a horror movie, but it'll fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like it'll.
Oh yeah.
Well, don't watch the U.S. version. The U.S. version is horrid. It's awful. Go watch the original Korean version of Old Boy if you really want a fucked up ending. Oh
yeah.
First time first time I saw that, I was like, I really need somebody else to see this. Is this appropriate for my 14-year-old son? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Go ahead and watch this and let me know.
No.
Number 11 is one that screwed with me a lot on the GameCube, and it was scary for a number of different reasons. If you played this, you know what I'm talking about. They have Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. Not only is the storyline and the environments very Cthulhu-esque, an HP Lovecraftian in a lot of ways, and so right up my alley there. But the game psychologically screwed with the player. Before I say anything else, did either of you play this game?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
This game would screw with you in many different ways, only some of which included while you were playing, it would flip to a black screen and it would have green letters in the upper corner that said video, like TVs did at the time.
Oh, sure.
So you like thought your TV was changing inputs on you.
Right.
Another thing that it would do is if you booted up the game under certain circumstances, it would actually obscure your save file so that you thought it was gone.
Mhm.
Oh God, that's evil.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
I heard about it. I didn't have a GameCube though.
Oh,
So, but yeah, I heard that it did all kinds of weird ass stuff to you.
the storyline
Well,
is
but-
great too, right? And it's a third-person view, so none of that first-person stuff. If you have vertigo or things like that, but the game literally fucked with the player too. Kind of literally the first time I had ever seen anything like that, shy of maybe the Psycho Mantis fight in the original Metal Gear Solid, kind of screwing
Right.
around with you. Now that's one I know both of you experienced.
Yeah.
That was a messed up fight.
Number 10. There it is for you, Jason. Your game. What made Amnesia so great, though? Because it doesn't, if you think about it, it doesn't do anything quote unquote new, but it did pave the way for a lot of stuff.
I mean, it was a lot more new back then because a lot of the games we had back then, the horror games, were the Resident Evils or whatever, where you do have some sort of guns or whatever ways to defend yourself. Whereas this, you just didn't. You had to run from the bad guy. You couldn't look at him directly and stuff like that. It's like that was, like you said, it's kind of like the springboard for, I think, a lot of games similar to that since then.
So good. If you have not played Amnesia and you like horror at all, you are doing yourself a disservice. Play it. Play it. I think I have the actual boxed software back here in the backdrop somewhere.
I have the actual Steam purchase.
I have my actual
Authentic.
Steam digital receipt.
Yes.
Yod, you ever play Amnesia?
No, I did not.
Oh, you need to. You would.
Oh.
I know you're not like huge into scary stuff, but you would like this. You would like it. I even got my mom to play that. She's like likes watching Resident Evil, watching scary games. She's a video game watcher more than a player. But I got her to play Amnesia as well. Number 9 on the list, one I never fell into.
No.
Yep.
Nope.
Same here.
Creepy Chuck
Played
E.
a little bit,
Cheese.
but just couldn't.
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's, obviously a mega franchise these days, but we're talking about the OG original Five Nights at Freddy's, an indie game, if you will, at the time. I did play the first one. I did think, oh, this is kind of a neat concept. Oh, I got jump scared a couple of times. And then I just didn't care about the franchise anymore. Like, I was like, yeah, I've already seen that. And I know they've spawned into like some other areas, turn-based RPGs, and they do a lot of stuff with like hidden meanings or Easter eggs inside the games. And Five Nights at Freddy's fans go bonkers for that type of shit. More power to you. Absolutely love it for you if you love it. But I just felt like with Five Nights at Freddy's, I played the first one, I was done. I was
Yeah,
done.
but if you're a fan for it, you're a fan for it. Good on you. Be a fan. Do your fan things. But I mean, yeah, mechanical puppets are creepy. I mean, those old Chuck E. Cheese things were creepy as hell. If you were of that age, which
I'm
I
about
know
to
you
say,
guys
that's what,
are.
if I had to play this game when I was like 8, maybe it would have been hit me different.
Right. But the fact that at this point in time, we know how the sausage is made with those critters. Okay, whatever.
It's also obviously spawned massively big YouTube channels, or helped accelerate the growth of YouTube channels like Game Theory. Matt Pat was already doing his thing before FNAF, but obviously, has cashed in on that whole aspect of things. So yeah, it's just maybe not for me. A little repetitive, but definitely neat at the time. Next up, I think we'll just talk about the entire franchise while we're in here. Silent Hill 2.
Yep.
They put Silent Hill 2 in here before, or as the representative, skipping Silent Hill 1. But this is one of those rare cases, Yad, where I think I agree. The sequel is better than the original as a whole package. Take away how like revolutionary the first one may or may not have been in the genre, and when you strip that away and you just compare the two games as video games, I think you do have to kind of land on Silent Hill 2 being the better one. And of course, it's the one that we're getting a remake of first, the trailer that I am showing you in the B-roll right now.
I actually like the story from the third one.
Oh, you're out of your damn mind. What are you talking
No,
about?
I do. I the story-wise, I like the third one the most. I think I got
Blasphemy.
a little... I think personally,
Cast
I
out
think
the
they went
heretic.
overboard with Pyramid Head. That might have been my problem with the second one. Like, that was a little way over the top for me. I did enjoy the first one a lot, but that also might be because of the circumstance I played it in.
How so? What was going on? It's Halloween, baby. Tell me.
I had a PlayStation. I didn't have a save card, so I couldn't stop it.
That's like me in the original Resident Evil.
Yeah, it was in college, and we were not much money renting an apartment, and we lived in a creepy old house where it was a little bit neglected. And
Perfect place to play a horror game.
Right?
yeah,
He's like, I am playing in Silent Hill. Like,
yes,
this sucks.
that was,
I'm dead.
That was kind of it exactly.
It's not fog, it's the water heater that's burst. It's spraying hot steam.
That's why this first one holds a place in my heart.
Why does it feel like a sauna in here?
It's like fucking midnight, creepy ass house. I mean, this house was so messed up. It didn't have trim on the bottom of the walls.
I feel like, Jason, you or I were supposed to say, how messed up was it? This house is so messed up. How messed up was it?
You could see from the first floor into the basement through the floor.
Oh, jeez.
Because of where it connected to the wall, and there was no baseboard.
It's since been condemned.
Probably it was behind a strip club in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a hell of a time to be playing Silent Hill.
You got some bonus factors going on with your Silent Hill 3 experience then, I guess. I cannot wait for the remake. Bloober Team, they did such a good job with other remake materials. And you know what? Do you remember the HD collection that they released? There was Silent Hill 2 and 3, because they
not really.
it was such a letdown on the PlayStation 3. I can't wait until this comes out. We still don't have a date yet, but Havoc saying it just gets better and better. You're like, yeah, then you can see through the floor. Yeah, it was in the back end of a strip joint. Yeah, it was the water heater's leaking.
Yeah, the house is on legs. It was actually Baba Yaga's hut.
It moved around occasionally, no problem. The rent was cheap. That's all that mattered.
Somehow it was bigger on the inside than outside. It's a fucking TARDIS. Number 7, The Evil Within. By the way, if you played The Evil Within or the sequel, The Evil Within 2, and you don't own either of them, you can at least, as of this recording, until Wednesday night, Thursday morning, so a couple of days left, this is one of the 2 free games on the Epic Game Store this week, The Evil Within 2. So the sequel is free on there. Actually, The Evil Within 1, I think, was free on the Epic Game Store not too many weeks ago. So if you go every Thursday and claim your games, you already have the first one, the second one now. This was very, I do like The Evil Within, although, Jason, to your point earlier, this one kind of pushes into, it was literally last week. I thought it was a week or two ago. Yeah. Evil Within 2 is free now. Evil Within is probably deep discounted since it was free last week. This does push, because this takes the whole like Resident Evil build, puts it in a hospital, an asylum, right? Because that's what you do.
Right.
Wheelchairs and stretchers are creepy. And but it does lean a little more towards the gunplay than even Resident Evil does in some regards. Very enjoyable if you like Resident Evil, but it does also have its flaws. So probably not up Jason Winter's list all that much.
You know, Actually, though, I was kind of interested in it because it was a Bethesda game. So I remember when I played just a tiny bit at a QuakeCon several years ago, and enjoying it. Enjoying when I kill the zombie and I walk past it and it still starts crawling after me, so I have to light it on fire to
Yeah.
finish it off.
Yeah. That was an interesting mechanic.
That was creepy as it went. Yeah. By the way, it's only $3 on Steam, so you can get it there and not support Tim. What's his name?
There you go. There you
So
go.
there you go.
Japan's freak in chat agreeing with us on that front,
Yeah,
saying, "Dang, I was
excited
excited until I heard it was Epic Games." I told you, I've said it before. Zach Sharps, I always give him credit for the line. Epic Game Store is where you go to visit your games in prison. That's the brilliant description of the Epic Game Store. It's my favorite line. Zach Sharp's an absolute genius. Seems like that's where I go to visit some of my games in prison. Literally, the only thing I think I've ever actually bought on the Epic Game Store is the Rocket League Season Pass.
Sure.
In Rocket League, and I'm actually going to look it up. And I guess I get, okay, we'll count one more as I bought, but I didn't actually buy it. It was given to me by Ubisoft. It just happened to be through the Epic Game Store, Riders Republic. So let me go to my library. Can I see?
Even within 2 is $6 on Epic or on Steam too. So you get them both for.
So you can get them both for real cheap.
Yeah.
Real cheap. Where the hell's my library on the web browser?
I think the only thing I have.
We don't have another hour and a half for you to figure out how Epic Games Store works.
or for it to open. It takes forever to fucking open. It's anyway.
That's because it doesn't want you to shut it down.
Yeah.
Even when you turn off your computer, it still wants to run.
That's what it is. That's what it is. You bought Tiny Tina Wonderland, and now you never play it. Yeah, we've all been there. Take a look at everybody's Steam library. Okay, number 6, I don't agree with.
This was a horror game.
Yeah, this doesn't make the list.
It says scariest ever, so
yeah, the scariest horror games ever. And number 6, CBR puts The Last of Us. Now, no doubt, zombies and parasites taking control of things, and that's some scary stuff. But I don't consider The Walking Dead horror. Like, I don't consider The Last of Us horror. Never. I kind of view almost like, and maybe this applies to Resident Evil, although Resident Evil does a little more. It's just like zombies have never been scary to me. Like, I like a good zombie movie, but they've just never been, they're not scary. Chirac says Devil May Cry is scarier. Some of the bosses in Devil May Cry are freaky. Do you guys, are you evil? You okay with this being on the list here? And as high up as it is, it's 6th.
No.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy about it. I'm kind of with you.
CBR to me has always been kind of iffy with their stuff to me anyways. Just because, I don't know, some of it just doesn't feel right sometimes what they wrote right.
Number 5 is Until Dawn. I definitely agree with it being on this list. I also really, really liked Until Dawn. And going through it multiple times and doing different things to get the story. It was very, very enjoyable for me. Loved that game. It was actually my mom's. I borrowed it and played through it a bunch of times. I don't know if I'd put it at 5, though. Although it is, like, absolutely like being in a horror movie. Tropes and all. Like, absolute tropes and all.
I mean, you can put all the Supermassive games on here, probably.
Yeah, like all the Madon series and everything after that. The anthology, the Dark something anthology? I don't remember.
Dark Pictures.
Is that what it is? Dark Pictures?
Yeah, Dark Pictures.
Number 4, Yod.
There's that Alien Isolation.
There's your game.
Yeah, that thing is creepy as fuck. Crawling through vents and ducts and making sure that alien scurries on by and.
Well, yeah, it capitalized on what made the first Alien scary, right?
Yes.
Aliens 2 was more action-oriented.
Yes.
And many aliens. But Alien 1 was one alien, and you can't kill this thing. So what do you do?
Yeah, definitely. Aliens was a sci-fi action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the heroes had guns. Alien
Game over, man.
was
Game over.
it's a horror thriller because the heroes didn't have a way to fight back. There's nothing you can do. You don't have any guns on the ship. You gotta run. You gotta hide. And yeah, that one will fuck you up.
Jason, you absolutely should play this.
I probably
Definitely.
should.
It's very, very good. Very, very good. Number 3, we've already mentioned, so we'll kind of skip over. That's the Dead Space series. Number 2 is Outlast. Outlast is absolutely a very, very scary game. Another asylum-based game. You're a reporter, that type of thing. I don't know if I'd put it 2, but have you played this, Jason? Because it is your more stealth-oriented one.
No, I haven't.
Really?
No.
Yeah, you got to hide or die in this one.
Nice.
This is hide, run, or die. I have 3 options.
I think there's actually an Outlast 2 now, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. That sounds familiar.
Holy shit, there's a 3rd.
Oh,
Yeah, Outlast
keep
3.
outlasting.
You keep Outlast some more. You've outlasted, now do it some more.
There's also the Outlast Trials, which I've seen some people play.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's weird.
Is there an
Multiplayer
Outlast
thing.
with a Vengeance?
Outlast with a
Vengeance.
They put number 1 on this list as Resident Evil, specifically Resident Evil 7. I can't really argue with Resident Evil taking a top horror games list, but I am going to ask each of your opinions which Resident Evil should go in that slot if you're going to make it number 1, Yod. Is Resident Evil 7 the one you put there?
I don't know if it is. Because 7 is creepy as hell. But you gotta give something to the older games that, they worked with what they had. The graphics might not be top notch, but they worked with what they had and they told a really damn good story. So I almost want to go back to, I don't know, the original or 2. Just because. But I don't know.
Jason? I know you're not a huge Resident Evil guy.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you never really liked it.
The scariest Resident Evil was that multiplayer one they were trying to pitch because nobody played it.
It's absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
I could see Resident Evil being there. If I'm going to put the remakes in, I think maybe Resident Evil 2 could go there, the remake, or the original, to your point, Yod. They're both very, very good. Resident Evil 4, I can recognize how innovative it was and groundbreaking at the time, but I kind of preferred the not the tank controls themselves, but the feeling that the original control schemes gave you, where it was very limiting as far as being able to move quickly and aiming and stuff. I don't have a huge problem with RE7 being there. I streamed the entire thing. I streamed all of Resident Evil 8 when it came out. We streamed the whole thing here too, and I'll do it with 9. But yeah, I got a lot of love for Resident Evil. Now, we're not going to go through these other lists, but I did link in the show notes a couple other websites that had done lists because I thought, looking through the first one, that there were some notable omissions.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Slender Man? You may think Slender Man is garbage, right? And you don't like the game. But I think you have to put it there. That was huge cultural horror game thing, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's got to make the list. Then you have other things like Phasmophobia,
Yeah, Phasmophobia.
Yeah, they didn't have any multiplayer, I think, on this list.
No
Phasmo, Dead by Daylight.
No Dead by Daylight. Yeah, I mean, Dead by Daylight is damn scary. A lot of crossover. They went with Fatal Frame 2. They also brought Little Nightmares. I don't know if I count Little Nightmares as a horror game. It's got its spooky setting, sure. Yes, Chirac, another one we're going to bring up here. Chirac already bringing up the Fear franchise. Go back. We're talking about the first 3, by the way. Stop before you get to the free-to-play monstrosity, and then everything that happened after that. But
isn't that the truly scary part, though? That it's free to play?
Not anymore. It's not. He's just not there anymore. So I do think there are some notable omissions. The very first Fear, scared the hell out of me. And if you remember, Jason, that game was groundbreaking for AI at the time. Like literally groundbreaking, where the AI would learn based on the players, the way they were playing, and it would start trying to flank you because it would and pop out of different spots. It was very, very groundbreaking at the time.
Interesting.
And Ada is absolutely terrifying in that series. We do have a few upcoming horror games. Alan Wake 2, of course, just yesterday. Then Silent Hill 2, the remake. We don't know when. But there are things like Paranormal, Reveal, Autopsy Simulator. I don't know if I can. Is that a horror movie?
Yeah, I'm not sure about
game?
that one either.
I don't know that I want that. I just don't think I want it.
Unholy, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. While I love the Killer Clowns movies, and I am looking forward to this game, and we have covered it over on MMO Bomb since it's multiplayer, I don't think right now is a good time for asymmetric games in the vein of Dead by Daylight. Evil Dead the game, although very, very well done, is basically being abandoned now at this point. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is another one. Very, very good. Very well done from a lot of the team that did the Friday the 13th one, which unfortunately died a death that had nothing to do with the game, but legal stuff between copyright holders. Again, they're very, very good games, but they're just having a really hard time holding an audience. And I think, Jason, maybe that's why Dead by Daylight does really well, where these games that are in that exact same mold, that are done very technically well, maybe don't, because Dead by Daylight isn't tied to a singular IP.
Yeah, and that Dead by Daylight also kind of really kicked off that whole concept in a lot of ways, which is why it was like it was the first MOBA, the first MMO, and everyone else has been trying to kind of copy that formula while also being a little different with it. And you can do that, and even if you're a good game, you might not actually get that kind of market traction that you need.
Yeah, and it's like if you like asymmetric gameplay and you're a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, match made in heaven. If you like asymmetric horror gameplay and you either aren't familiar with Texas Chainsaw Massacre or you don't like the franchise, then you're going to go play Dead by Daylight. Like, you know, it almost feeds the audience to the game. Little Nightmares 3 next year, Alone in the Dark moved to January, and Silent Hill Townfall and F are new entries, Yod, that we've been looking forward to. We still don't know any dates on them, though.
No, that's they really need to give us some timetables here.
If you're looking for something a little on the spooky side, anything by Activision Blizzard will do.
Isn't that the work culture, not the game itself?
Hey, man, yeah. Diablo 4 is having a free weekend this week, so I don't know. I don't intend to get involved, but if you want to,
don't get involved, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not getting involved. And if you've got spare money, Jason, Mortal Kombat 1 can help you ring in the holidays, right? Ring in the Halloween.
Sure. Yeah, if I just got an extra $12 I want to spend on one fatality.
What?
One fatality?
So first of all, I got to win the match, which will never happen, and then I can actually use the thing. I can spend my $12. It's not even like a skin where I can always have it on. I always use my skin. No, I got to show skill to also get my $12 worth. For a 4 or 5 second animation or whatever it's going to be.
You have to put in the button combination too, right?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
Jason will put on easy mode fatalities. That's
I get a macro. Yeah, no kidding.
Speaking of horror games, we've seen a lot of horror movies become games, but we're also seeing a lot of horror games become movies, including this week, Five Nights at Freddy's came out. And I don't know if I've seen a movie recently like this where the critics clearly don't know what the audience that wanted to see this movie was looking for. Because Five Nights at Freddy's has scraped a 26% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and an 89% from the audience. A little bit of a disconnect. And Jason, you said it didn't, the same logic bears out somewhere else.
Yeah, on Metacritic, I don't know. I gotta get the link here because I was just looking up something else that I thought of. Yeah, Metacritic, it's 33 from the Metascore from the critics, 8.2 from fans. So there's
Yay.
another movie that got 32 from critics and 8.1 from fans.
Mm.
Can you guess what that was?
Is it a horror movie or a movie
No,
based on
it's
a
a
game?
video game. It's based on a video game.
It's a video game adaptation.
Mhm.
Is it Monster Hunter?
Is it the original Resident Evil?
No. It was Warcraft.
Oh,
Warcraft.
jeez.
Oh,
Almost
my
exactly the
God.
same on Metacritic as Five Nights at Freddy's.
Wow.
Like, I think if you're
Which-
being a movie critic, though, you really have to take that into account, right? Like, if you're going to see a unknown movie, fine, but like,
No, the Doom movie was crap. Period. Sure.
yeah, it was crap all the way around. Wouldn't you take
Come
into
on,
account that,
first-person
like,
mode.
hey, this isn't a great movie, but this is really gonna kill it for the people that like this IP, right? You
All right,
might
I
go
looked it
see
up.
Five Nights at Freddy's and go, this is an awful movie in a vacuum, but it's exactly what Five Nights at Freddy's fans are gonna want to see.
But these people can't think that way. That's the problem.
I just looked up Doom. That's got a 34 from the critics and a 5.0 from.
So the fans weren't much better.
No, they weren't much better.
The Gamer lists its 10 best horror movies based on video games. Resident Evil's in 10th,
Mhm.
Dead Rising at 9th, Aooni at 8, Silent Hill Revelation at 7, Dead Space Downfall at 6, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, that's the 2021 animated one.
And at number 4,
At 5th, number 4
Oh,
is 2005 Doom. No.
Doom is the movie that I got free tickets to, and I said I paid too much.
Welcome to Raccoon City was live action. It was
Oh, it was
not
live
animated.
action. It was Damnation
Yes.
that was the
Yes,
the animation.
Damnation
Sorry.
is
Which is number
animation.
3, actually. Resident Evil
Yes.
Damnation. Number 2 is the original Silent Hill movie. I kind of, when I got to this point on the list, I was like, I have no idea what the fucking number 1 could be because I've
Yeah,
seen
same here.
every single thing that I thought would be on this list already. Number 1 is Detention from 2019. I don't know. I'll read you.
Just got a hold of that.
This Taiwanese supernatural horror film was adapted from the popular Red Candle Games' title. Okay, I'll take your
Really?
word for it. Detention is an atmospheric horror game which preys on your vulnerability through incorporating Taiwanese culture and mythology. The film, directed by John Su, is creepy, terrifying, and worth all the spooks. Set in the martial law era of the 1960s Taiwan, students join an underground book club hosted by a counselor. When the counselor mysteriously vanishes, the students must find him while being plagued by ghosts and spirits. Unique, refreshing film which uses Taiwanese lore to keep the hairs on the back of your neck standing at all times. I was like, what movie? And then when I read it, I was like, what game?
So this is by an author who clearly just loved that game and movie and just wanted to put that number 1
Yeah.
on our list.
Yeah, it does seem very like I'm gonna be very chic and put this here. Hey, go ahead.
That one and Io Oni are the only two that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I've never heard of the Io Oni.
Naoni was a niche entry for adapted from a puzzle freeware horror game.
A
Yeah.
puzzle freeware
Puzzle
horror
freeware
game.
horror.
There's a
Yeah.
combination of words.
And it's only an hour long.
There's a
Yeah.
combination of words. Hey, before we wrap this up here and head over to games of the week, Jason, I do want to ask you your thoughts now that it's all a done deal. Of course, the FTC still has some hearings, but they would basically have to get the companies to divest at this point, which I feel like they're highly unlikely to do since they couldn't get an injunction to stop the merger in the first place. Activision Blizzard is now fully purchased and owned by Microsoft in everywhere. What's your take on it? We gave ours all last week. Is this good for employees? Is this good for gamers? What do you think?
I mean, it was inevitable. First of all, I think
Right.
it was going to happen, no doubt. And again, I'm not on board with the whole monopoly talk that some people were throwing around. I think it's fine for gamers. They still only control whatever it is. We had that one chart once showed that they control still like 15% of the video.
Yeah,
game
it makes them
market or something
the
like that,
third
so.
biggest video game company.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt anything in any way, and it's going to be nice to get a lot of stuff on Game Pass. That's going to be really good for a lot of people. People are going to like that. So, I mean, I think in terms for gamers, I think it's going to be fine. I will say that when it was first announced, when I was first hearing about it, like in terms of like the Overwatch League, that was my thought of it. Like, so I heard people saying, "Oh, now they're going to invest in the Overwatch League. Now they got that money."
Nope.
I'm like, no, now they're going to look at it and say, "No, that we're not going to bother with this crap anymore."
Yeah, I mean,
That's
time
basically
is
what's happened.
on the Overwatch League. Time is running out. Actually,
Oh, it's run out.
Yeah,
it's
the
over.
teams did not sign the new collective agreement. And so
Mhm.
Activision is paying out millions to all the teams. The season's over. We don't know what that really means for next season yet, besides there isn't one scheduled yet.
Yeah, they said that they said that they're reevaluating how the league is going to go and figure out what the next iteration is or whatever, and whatever. Maybe they'll have like 6 teams or something. They'll be able to keep going.
Hey,
In terms,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I said in terms of like employees and how that's going to work, can't be worse, right? Bobby Kotick's going to leave, is he?
Yeah, he's leaving at the end of the
No.
year.
About a year, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, he doesn't have a year. He has 2 months. He's leaving at the end of this year.
Right.
Yeah.
End of the
You
year.
should. You haven't heard of this kind of stuff going on at Microsoft at the level that did it. Now, granted, who knows if it does? 'Cause it probably does at every company. to some
Yeah, I've
degree.
said on the show before, Microsoft has its own boogaboos in the past as far as employee treatment and things like that. But again, to your point, it's like you don't hear about it to the extent that you hear about this, so that means it's either
Mhm.
hidden really well, which I would hope is not the case, or it's just not happening to this extent, which I would hope is the case. Doesn't mean Microsoft's the be-all, end-all great employer of the year. They've had their own accusations in the past, but nothing like we've seen from Activision Blizzard.
And it didn't grow up. The thing about Activision Blizzard too is that it grew up as a good old boys video game club,
Yeah.
and now they're actually a little more corporate. Maybe that'll help. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Now they have a real company running them.
Skull and Bones has been delayed again because of course it fucking has.
No. Sorry.
Why am I still hearing about it? Why did I come back just to hear about this again?
I mean, we could be still talking about Cyberpunk.
It's delay number 7. Number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And Mario Wonder, which I'm absolutely still loving, is now the third or the fastest selling Mario game in Europe, although Nintendo didn't give exact numbers.
Right.
So whatever. Take it with however you believe it. And then Jason, you brought a little bit of anger from the gaming community. What the hell's going on here?
Well, so City Skylines 2 released this week.
Yeah, anticipated.
Very highly anticipated. Everybody loves City Skylines 1. And so you figure City Skylines 2, all improvements, everything's going to be much shinier and greater.
Has
People
to
are going
be.
to love it, right?
It's been forever.
Absolutely. It's got, what is it at right now? It has got a 55% positive on Steam. 55.
What? How many
Why
reviews?
is it at, let's see. 16,000.
Oh, okay. We're not exactly talking about a
16,700.
small sample size there.
No.
How is it doing that badly? It's a city simulator.
Apparently performance is
And it
really
didn't do
awful.
like what The Sims did. Remember back in the Game Breaker days
yeah,
when
yeah,
The
always
Sims
on
didn't even
highway, yeah.
boot?
Mhm.
So
Well,
what's
this barely
going on?
boots, but then it just runs like garbage.
Wow.
And not the kind of garbage you can like set at the dump to have it be taken to in the game.
Cha-cha. He did it. He did
And the
it.
reason for it is apparently not the character's teeth. Because that was the belief at first.
Wait, what?
Every sim, what do you call them? Sim or Skyliner?
Every
or whatever
not
the
sim.
people are.
Not
Whatever.
Sim.
Citizens. Apparently they all have teeth. We're not sure why, because it's not like they're not like you have to see their mouth or whatever.
Like in their character models, you mean? Like
It's in
they
their
have
character
teeth.
models. They have teeth. And one belief was that the cost of rendering all the teeth, even though you never really saw them, what was causing the problems. But
Interesting.
PC Gamer talked to someone who worked for it at the company and said, yes, our characters have teeth. No, the characters' teeth are not affecting performance in any way we would call significant.
Wait a minute. So it doesn't
They
mean
had
that
to-
they're not affecting it, just not affecting it in any way they would call significant.
Yeah. Not anything like that. They think it's an issue with the LOD, which is what do they call that? Basically, it's when you zoom in or out, you know how it'll change
Yeah.
the performance, the prettiness, whatever. I don't know. Field of view, basically. So that's what they think is the problem. That it's not transitioning well or something like that.
Fucking teeth,
But
man.
it's not the teeth. It's not the teeth. They swear.
I really
Can't
wanted
be a
it to be the teeth. Just
Is it
be
the
teeth.
fingernails then? Fingernails?
By the way, I own 251 Epic Game Store games.
And how many do you play?
I have only ever given money to Rocket League for Season Pass and will take Ubisoft's Riders Republic off there because I was given that by Ubisoft for press for MMO Bomb. So that means 249 games have literally just been given to me. I have a stunning total of 4 installed.
Wow.
Including Fortnite, because your daughter plays it.
Fortnite for my daughter, Rocket League for me, and then Riders Republic and Forza Horizon. Or not, no, that's on Xbox. Riders Republic and one other one that literally I play occasionally on MMO Bomb streams. So that's the only reason they're even there. Let's slide over and go do Games of the Week. Free episode of Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all 3 of us, happy Halloween, happy 100th episode, are going to give you a game. Could be a board game, card game, video game, mobile game, a game we've played, are playing, or have never played but think you should check out. And you let us know what's the scariest video game you ever remember playing and why did it scare you, and who gave the best recommendation for the game of the week in the comments below. Jason, it's good to have you back. We'll let you go first.
All right, in the spirit of the season, I'm going to make my game of the week Ghost Exile.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is a very phasmophobia-like game. Of course, you go into a house, spooky house, you got to figure out what the ghost is and so forth. You got a lot of equipment that looks a lot like it. But it does do a few things differently. For one thing, when you figure out what the ghost is, you have to actually like banish it. And the one time I played it with some friends, I'd like stand at a pentagram and read off this inscription from a book. You do that, and you have to go find like the little portal or the little not portal, but like a little field or something where you'll get more information about the ghost, and then you have to go back and read again. And like, yeah, the fire's coming down or whatever as you're doing that. It's got a lot of more interesting jump scares. It scared the crap out of me a few times when I was playing it. When you die, you don't just go around like an incorporeal ghost like you do in Phasmo. You have to like go through this maze to like get out of the underworld or whatever. Then you can get back up to the surface. Then you can help your friends out by like tapping on walls and stuff to try to lead them to things and so on. So if you're interested in trying something a little like Phasmo but want something a little different, I would recommend trying Ghost Exile.
I have never heard of it, and so I am going to check it out. That does not mean I'm giving you my vote yet.
Okay. Well, you can't vote. You don't get to vote. You vote for ourselves. The chat votes, right?
Havoc said it's just a matter of time with these games, with the summoning and talking to demons. Someone going to fuck around and open a portal by accident.
Of course.
Go ahead, Yad.
Well, obviously from the artwork, I got some game on my mind.
You do.
So let's go with Darkstalkers for the American audience.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Because, of course, in Japan, it's Vampire Saviors, I think.
So I thought Darkstalkers, but I also thought he could be going a little Disgaea here. You know,
no.
with the
We're going
artwork.
classic.
But Darkstalkers,
Classic.
yeah. I'm
Darkstalkers.
going to give you some asymmetrical gameplay that isn't tied to a horror franchise, but does have something spooky to go with, and that's Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. If you like the 4-on-1 asymmetrical gameplay with some progression built in there, with voices by Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson and some the others from the original Ghostbusters movie, it is very, very fun, chasing ghosts through museum, trying not to do damage as you catch them. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. They just released their 3rd DLC for the game. Definitely worth playing. And if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you're going to love all the little nods throughout it. So let us know in the comments below who gave the best recommendation for Halloween, our Scary Games episode. Of course, we'll be back next week with episode 101 as we start the trek to episode 200. Until then, Yad, where can everybody find you?
Yada works on all the socials. You know, if you want to see the full image for our plates.
Yep.
Find me on the socials.
Mr. Winter, it's always good having you, my friend. Where can we come and hang out with you?
On Twitter at Winter Informal. Excuse me, on X at Winter Informal. It's been so long. It's been different now. And streaming twitch.tv/Jason Winter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at MagicMan1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we're going live with a stream, a podcast, or more. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later. Happy Halloween.